Hello, Western North Carolina. Quick question. How many of you out there need water to stay alive? That was a trick question. You're a captive audience in more ways than one. Now, how many of you would like to see the legislators in Raleigh in charge of that water that you need to stay alive? Not so much. Well, as you know, when the legislature decided that they were in charge of our water, the city of Asheville listened to their constituents and they said, hell no, hands off our water. The constitutional challenge to that is moving through the courts. It was due to happen tomorrow, but the state has asked for yet another delay while they strive to figure out how to defend the indefensible. But seriously, don't be fooled. The Asheville water issue is not about Asheville. It's not about a couple of legislators who are trying to settle political scores, and it certainly isn't about efficiency or savings. Their own studies show that there will be no savings. It will cost you, the ratepayers, extra money to transfer that water system away from the city of Asheville. And this is the key word you need to understand, resource. When you and I see water flowing down from that mountain, that's a resource. That's something that belongs to all of us. That's something that belongs to all of us. We share it, we protect it, and we preserve it for our futures. There are people who don't see water as a resource. They see it as a commodity. A commodity is something that was controlled by the few. It's bought and sold for profit, and it's held in trust for the few people who want to control other strategic purposes. Oil is a good example of a commodity in those senses. Now, there's a reason organizations like ALEC and our good friend Tim Moffitt is not just a member. He's on the board of directors of ALEC. He's one of the decision makers. There's a reason that they favor the privatization of public utilities like water. It's because when a municipal system is accountable to the voters and the communities who don't favor selling water to frackers, or don't favor selling water to nuclear power plants, or don't favor pipeline to wasteful cities outside of our state. The first step in getting a hold of that resource is to take it away from the elected officials who have been protecting it for 100 years. And that's what this seizure is about. Now, if you're going to bypass those voters, either through a private company or through an unelected, appointed, state-controlled board, you're that much closer to creating a commodity instead of a resource. Now, those who are seeking to seize Asheville's water have made it very clear that if they can get away with it here, they see it as a precedent that will be taken across the state and other communities. Hendersonville, you're next. If you don't know it, you're on the menu. Durham, Greensboro, Burlington, Greenville, there are towns all over the state who have valuable water systems that someone else wants. Once they do it to us, they can do it to them. So this is a watershed moment for North Carolina. And do we want the legacy of Western North Carolina to be the spot where they got away with it first? Future generations will wonder why we let it start here. And if you don't want to see that this is the legacy of Western North Carolina, join me in saying, hell no, hands off our water. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Terry Belllamy, Mayor of the City of Asheville. How are you all this evening? It's a pleasure to welcome you to my hometown. I hope you enjoy your stay, and before you leave, spend money. I do want to just correct one thing that was said earlier. You talked about our politicians. Our politicians aren't in the same boat as some of the things that happen in Raleigh. So I just want to correct that. Because I can tell you for a fact, when I called Susan Fisher to talk about issues impacting Asheville and our water, and Martin Nesbitt, they were there. So I just want to just say that for the record. Tonight, I'm not going to spend the hours that I could talking about the city of Asheville and the fact that almost every week during the 100 days that our General Assembly was in session, almost every week, the city of Asheville had a bill introduced. And not one of them, I will take that back, only one of them, we specifically asked for. But many of them we did not ask for. Barry did a good job talking about our water system and how important it is, not just for the citizens of Asheville, but also the citizens of Buchan County. And we are the model. Most people don't realize that the city of Asheville's airport was the first airport to be taken, and not Charlotte's. But they practiced on the city of Asheville. So it could be conceivable that they're practicing on Asheville to take everyone's water system in North Carolina and regionalize it. So keep that in mind. Tonight I wore my practice shirt. And the goal is, it's not enough for you to vote in 2012. I need you to practice voting. There's a municipal election this year. You need to practice voting in every election. We need to increase the numbers in every single election. Whether it's a primary or a general election, I need you to practice voting. You need to practice registering individuals to vote. I have people out in the shirt today. Practice, get you some forms and practice registering individuals to vote, not just 30 days before the election, but right now when it's most important.